Deschutes County is an amazing place to live,
Ease of access,
work, and play.
Great place to raise a family.
I love the weather and the high desert.
At Deschutes County, we provide excellent service.
Beautiful.
We're here to help you.
Deschutes County is the heart of Oregon.
Everyone wants to be here.
Episode 38, a bonus episode this month. This is the Inside Deschutes County podcast. We thank you so much for listening. I'm Eric Brion. Well, we're bringing you this podcast from the Deschutes Services Building in Bend, Oregon, which also happens to be home to the clerk's office. There's lots happening across our county right now. The general election is happening in just a matter of days. Please get your ballots in. Come on, let's go. We want to take a few minutes and get an update on how things are going at the clerk's office. County Clerk Steve Dennison is here. Steve, thank you so much for being here. I know you're busy.
Thanks for having me, Eric, and I'm always glad to be back. Thank you.
How's it going?
Things are going good. You know, we're right where we need to be.
You're not busy at all.
Yeah, I don't know what that level would be to say that we're not busy or we are. I think at this stage would always rather be busier rather than having things delayed till election night. So yeah, we are where we should be, and as far as the work we're doing and the pace that we're at.
Well, we wanted to get you in here, and thanks for taking the time. Really appreciate that. Just to get more information out on all the platforms we have. So why don't we start by talking, do you have any last minute tips for voters? Like if I'm obviously get your ballot in.
Yeah.
But if they have questions or things like that, what are you hearing right now?
So, you know, the first thing we're hearing, you know, so for some people, you know, I don't have my ballot in my hand. Today is Thursday, and it's the last day we're mailing ballots to voters. So at this point, the mail has gone out for today. All the way up through Election Day, between now and then, if a voter does not have their ballot in their hand, the only way to get one would be to come here to our office here in the Deschutes Services Building.
Recording this on Halloween, by the way, just so the people who may be listening to it, you know, in the next few days, just so that they know
Happy
the
Halloween.
timing. Happy Halloween, by the way. Just so that they know the timing of this. So get it in. If you don't have it, come here, right?
Correct. Yeah. If you don't have it, come here to pick one up. Check online, make sure you're registered. You know, maybe an address is out of date or something along those lines. And for whatever reason, if you don't have one, but you're registered to vote, or even if you were inactive, maybe you had moved and you didn't let us know, or we didn't find out otherwise, so your registration could be inactive. But checking online would show that. Calling us would show that. Or coming by, you'll find out really quick, you know, what your status is and what information we have. But we can issue ballots. We can reactivate inactive voters and issue replacement ballots right up until 8 o'clock on election night. So still a ways to go. We want to get those ballots in voters' hands that don't have them yet.
Oh, that's good information. So replacement ballot all the way up till 8 o'clock.
Correct. Yeah. And
Wow,
we will
okay.
be. Yeah. Any last minute
On
voters.
November 5th.
Yeah. Right up until Tuesday, November 5th, until 8 p.m. And I would say for the voters that do have those ballots in their hands, and there's a lot of them that still have them in their hands, vote them. You know, do your research, do your diligence, and then mark your ballot accordingly, and get it in a drop box or put it in a USPS post office box.
Clerk's office located at 1300 Northwest Wall, the Deschutes Services Building, just in case anybody doesn't know that. Second floor. Mm-hmm. Come up the stairs, go to the right.
Yeah, follow the signs. We have a little breadcrumb trail for some people like to come into our office to drop a ballot off in the drop box within our office. So we have a little breadcrumb trail of ballot drop box throughout the building, pointing voters in the right direction.
And there's ballot drop boxes everywhere, Steve.
All over the county, all over the state.
Any one of them, right?
Use any one of them. Yeah, we have 10 ballot drop boxes located all over the county, and they'll all be open until 8 o'clock on election night. And also, if a voter is out of the county, but an Oregon voter, you know, Deschutes County voter, and you happen to be traveling and you have your ballot with you, don't worry about getting back to Deschutes County. You can drop your ballot off in any official drop box throughout the state of Oregon by 8 p.m. on election night.
That's good information as well. I see a steady stream of cars going by the drop box here at the county. How's turnout so far? What are you seeing? Are you noticing anything?
Yeah, that
General election, right? I
Yeah.
imagine it might be a little bit more.
This is traditionally our highest turnout election, and this one appears to be no exception. It should be a really high turnout. However, we are trending less than where we were 4 years ago. At this point in the election, we're actually more than 10% lower than where we were at the same point 4 years ago. A little bit more on par with where we were the presidential election prior to that, but again, trending lower. So that just means to me, I'm confident in the number, probably the percentage of our 165,000 or 166,000 registered voters that we anticipate somewhere in the ballpark of 80% turnout. Right now, we're at 45% with just a few days to go. So that means to me that we have a lot of ballots still to come, and I'm just hoping that voters choose to vote those ballots earlier rather than later, because the earlier voters do cast their ballot. They become part of that earlier picture in the results. So people want to know how local races did and local measures did, and the only way to know that is to have as many ballots in hand as early as possible to paint that picture. So we need, we're looking to have those ballots early so that at 8 o'clock when we release those results, those first let of results, that it's a big picture that if voters are casting their ballot between sometime in the afternoon of election day, that will slow things down. It's going to take us a while to get to those ballots, as well as the ballots cast up until 8 o'clock on election night. We'll be working until the wee hours of the morning to process those ballots, so we can give that whole big picture when we finalize the results on election night.
Is there any risk, Steve? I know you've talked about this before, but if waiting till the absolute last minute, is there any chance that their vote might not get counted?
No more than anybody else, really. Again, I think it's more of a timing issue that trying to have as much of the picture before as early as possible. But if somebody submits their ballot just before 8 o'clock on election night, if their signature is challenged, if it doesn't match what we have on file on the voter registration, or if the voter forgot to sign their ballot envelope, we'll still do that same outreach. We are going to reach out to those voters, and those voters still have the 21 days after Election Day or from Election Day to resolve those ballot issues. The only risk that I would say that voters run in waiting until closer to election, until 8 p.m., is that you might get a flat tire. It's going to be cold out. Maybe your battery dies, or something else happens, or if something happens that changes your course, that your ballot may not be able to make it to a drop box by 8 o'clock.
That's good advice.
Yeah.
Good advice. I know you just got off a call with the U.S. Postal Service. How's mail-in voting going? And maybe you can explain that process a little bit. Yeah,
mail's going well. There was a backup a couple of weeks ago when ballots were just going out. There was, it sounded like a USPS backup. I think there was an Amazon Prime Day doubled with a federal holiday of Columbus Day, and a lot of other variables that it took a minute for voters to get their ballots. But our messaging hasn't changed. We've remained consistent. From the day we mail ballots to voters, we've always asked them to give it a week or so before coming in and asking for a replacement. But that messaging was the same this time, and we gave the voters that amount of time to wait for their ballot. And we've been issuing replacement ballots since. So happy to issue, in these days prior to today, and up until midday today, we were able to still mail ballots to voters if they called and said they didn't receive it. But that time has passed. So as we discussed, anybody can come in and that is registered can come in and pick one up. But we had that time between that following Wednesday after we mailed them till today that we were still mailing, but still happy to issue replacement ballots. But the USPS is doing their best to get the ballots out and to return the ballots back. It's been a great partnership. Vote by Mail has been around for over 20 years. And here locally in Oregon, being a pioneering state to be the first vote by mail state, building that, having the clerks build that relationship with the local USPS and the state, the USPS folks that run the state and the area and the region, vote by mail was proven out at the state level here in Oregon, and it works, and it's because of the partnership and the hard work from the local USPS and everybody that knows how the pieces flow. So again, continuing that partnership and that relationship is what makes vote by mail work.
Who else are you in constant contact with? Because USPS, I imagine, maybe the Secretary of State's office. Who else do you have to kind of keep a running conversation with as you go through a general election?
There's great communication between the USPS, the Secretary of State. They really bridge that communication. And fellow clerks and clerks' offices, our vendors, our technology vendors, sometimes other states. Even there's a lot of communications that are constantly going on. Not to mention here within our county. It's our office. It's our team. We're talking with one another, and I just have to really give a shout out to our team and how amazing they are. And that's our 10 people in our office that are there every day, year round, and it's our on-call staff and all of our election workers that really are working very, very hard to get us to where we are. Such dedicated public servants, and it's just always humbling to watch them work. And then the communication, of course, with other departments that are helping us. We couldn't do it alone. And between facilities and HR and finance and IT, admin, on and on, roads, there's probably a dozen different departments that we coordinate, sheriff's office, that we coordinate with that really help us get things done. And that's another one that I forgot to do, constant communication with law enforcement too, as there's always different things happening.
And they always do it with a smile on their face.
Yeah.
Your team especially. I mean, it's just amazing when I walk back there and they're, getting all the ballots, sorting all the ballots. It's like, it's almost like they're holiday workers, just kind of going through and doing their work. And it's really cool to see the process as they scan them all and open them. And the election board workers are already hard at work.
Yep, they are. And back to your point about the joy that you can see in people's in their faces. Our team takes pride in what they do every day of the year. But being part of this democracy that we have, that we're so fortunate to have, being part and playing that critical role, I think all of our team members really enjoy that work. So,
well, this is your Super Bowl,
yeah,
right? I mean,
yeah.
The biggest event that your office does, correct?
Of a 4-year election cycle, this is by far and bigger than anything else. And again, all that coordination that I mentioned, that we can't do it alone, but everything's all coming together as an orchestrated event. It's always humbling to see it all work together in unison.
Now, I know you test the equipment ahead of. I was there actually. I saw you do it. Everything was working fine there. Everything working now? Everything going smoothly in terms of, because I don't know if people realize there's a lot of technology and equipment that goes into the counting process.
There is. There are a lot of pieces and parts and systems that need to work, in tandem and communicate with one another. And every piece of mail or every ballot that comes back to us starts. We run it through a ballot sorter, and it's a big monstrosity of a machine that takes an image of the ballot return envelope, the signature side, so we can get human eyes on that signature and compare it to what we have on file, and compare every single signature that we have on file, or that for every ballot that's returned. Our folks, our team, verify each one by human eyes, and they're trained. They're all trained, but by forensic handwriting specialists to recognize certain characteristics of signatures, so that we can validate those and match them. But that's a ballot sorter, and that's a big piece of our technology. It adds a huge efficiency to what we do. But yeah, we have our tabulation system. We have our letter openers. That's a piece of technology. We have even something as simple as a paper folding machine. That's technology. Our voter registration system, that's a statewide voter registration system that's tracking what ballot we've mailed with a very specific number, a barcode or a numeric value that we mail to each voter, or the replacement ballots and where these ballots were returned to and on what date. A lot of pieces that are talking to one another, and it is all tied together in one way or another. And it works. And right now, it is working, knock on wood. I think we're a little bit early. I shouldn't have even said that.
And then the big scanner, counting them all, right?
Yeah, our tabulation system where we're ultimately going to count those ballots and then, scan, tabulate, adjudicate, report, and certify the election results by using that system.
For people listening, because it's audio only, it's almost like a big fax machine. Like it kind of old school. You're feeding it, and then they're just counting it through, right? And then it goes into the computer system.
Correct. Yeah, it's really so our voting system. We use a system by a vendor called Clear Ballot, and that system, for the most part, they're using commercial off-the-shelf hardware. So it's your Dell PCs, monitors, and laptops. It's a Fujitsu scanner. It's a pretty big scanner, very industrial kind of scanner. That takes a great image of a ballot so that the system can tabulate that, or we can review that ballot on screen. That's a pretty beefy scanner for what we do, and just a few times out of the year that we wind up using it.
I'm always amazed at the activity on election night. And can you paint us a picture as to, kind of what behind the scenes? Because you got this big room where there's dozens of election workers. Kind of explain to me, and for people listening, what they do, how they do it, and kind of the scene. If you were to get a sneak peek back behind there.
Yeah, sure. So as ballots are signature verified, once we determine that a signature matches, and we can count the ballot, ultimately it's going to go along to our election board workers and our election boards. And our election boards are bipartisan teams. We have 10 boards set up for this election. So 10 boards of 3 or 4 workers, bipartisan teams that will take a batch of ballots and count those ballots, that batch of ballots, to verify that the number that I knew we gave them, or that we knew we gave them, matches what they hand count. So they're going to hand count the number of envelopes. Once they reconcile that, they'll start removing those ballots from envelopes. And once all the ballots are removed from the envelopes, and by the way, as we're removing ballots from envelopes, we have that we have the voter information face down, so the signature side and anything identifiable is face down. So as we're removing, we don't know whose envelope we're pulling that ballot out of. But once all those envelopes are empty, we will tie those all together, keep those for a retention, and we know where we're keeping each one of those. And then we'll unfold each ballot and prepare those for scanning and tabulation. But that's a lot of people working in a small area all at once. We have about almost 40 people working in this small area, with the election observers watching the process as well. So there's more people in that room and any of our other workers that are coming and going. But a lot of people in a small area doing a lot of work, and they do it well. And they are, for this election, they did start already. And they're cruising right along.
And we'll try to give, on election night, people a sneak peek, maybe give them a little live look at what's going on. And
Awesome.
And I know we've done that before. To me, it's like an election cafeteria. It's like they're sitting at these tables lined up, and they've got, just all the things going in and out. And it's really a cool process to see. So if you get a chance at home to look, we encourage you to do so. Election night, the last part of that is results. So what is your kind of results schedule? I know it's shortly after 8 o'clock, and then what?
Yeah, so leading up to 8 o'clock, and I'll just put a plug in. Again, our ballot drop boxes close around the county and throughout the state, for that matter, simultaneously. All of our drop boxes will close right away at 8 o'clock.
You got people just like standing there right at 8 o'clock with like locks?
Yeah, we have. Yeah, our folks are standing right there with our locks and our seals for our transportation bins. And once 8 o'clock, that clock strikes 8 o'clock, the box is closed. Prior to that, anybody in line, in that car line at a drop box or in any line, at 8 o'clock is still entitled to cast their ballot. So we will keep it open as long as anybody was in line. If somebody's pulling up at 8:01, or even just seconds after 8 o'clock, if they're pulling around the corner, we can't accept their ballot. Unfortunately, it's too late. And another point to get in early. don't wait till closer to 8 o'clock. So anyway, if the ballot drop box closes promptly at 8. Sheriff's deputies will whisk those ballots to here in our office. We will run all those ballots through signature verification and present those ballots to our election boards on election night. Those ballots will continue to work and to prepare for tabulation. And once we've tabulated all of those viable ballots on election night, we'll go home. But you had asked about the results at 8 o'clock. Keep an eye out on our website on DeschutesCounty.gov/elections. We'll have results posted up there very soon after 8 p.m. And the Secretary of State's office will have the same results. They're kind of in parallel. They're the same types of systems, but they're not connected. But the state will also have, we will upload our results to the state, and then you can see those cumulative, those shared districts and, the congressional districts and other local districts that are shared across county lines. So you can see the whole picture on the state's website.
And then you'll update a couple of times that night, like up until, 10, 11 o'clock?
So we try to do a results release every couple of hours. So keep an eye out just after 10 p.m. and then more than likely after midnight. And then after that, it's really anyone's guess. It depends on how the turnout winds up being on election day afternoon and evening. That will determine how late we're going to have to work on election night. So again, if voters turn their ballots in earlier, then we will have the bigger picture reported earlier in the evening, and we may not have to stay too late. I would anticipate wrapping up if I was going to have to put my finger on it, I would guess around 2 or 3 a.m. But that's just a guess at this point.
That's a long night for you.
I hope it's earlier, but who knows?
Yeah.
We'll see.
Every 4 years. Yeah, that's fine.
Exactly.
That's fine.
It's okay.
The final period is certifying the election.
Mm-hmm.
That what comes a few months later? What is the timing of that?
So post-election day, we're still receiving ballots that we can count that might have a viable postmark. That's if a ballot is postmarked on or before Election Day, and we receive it up to 7 days after Election Day, we can still count it. And any voter that had their signature challenged, if their signature didn't match what we had on file for them, or if they forgot to sign their ballot return envelope, those voters have 21 days. That 21 days to cure their signature challenge. So those are other ballots that are going to be introduced into the tally. So we're still receiving ballots. Our numbers are going to change right up until a few weeks after Election Day, and certification is no later than 27 days after Election Day. So that's when we'll certify our results. Then we'll have our hand count audit, which could be a different conversation too, but it's something that we do. We'll hand count a certain number of batches selected by the Secretary of State's office, and it will be three contests counted by hand by our election boards that will compare what our machine counts were to verify that our system tabulated the way we expected it to. One last audit. So. And after that, we'll try and put a ribbon on it. Yeah, then we're done. A lot of cleaning up after that, but we're essentially done.
And then what? A 2-week vacation for you, or
nothing big, but no vacations.
The holiday decorations and gear up towards the turn of the year.
We'll get the Christmas decorations out there.
Awesome, Steve. Thank you so much for taking the time. County Clerk Steve Dennison, updating us on the general election coming up November 5th.
Thanks, Eric.
DeschutesCounty.gov/elections is the place for all your November 5th general election information. There you can find ballot drop-box locations, results on election night, and so much more. Remember, you can drop off your ballot up until 8 p.m. on election night. Also, make sure to follow the county's social media pages. We'll update you the second those results are available. Remember, you can listen to us wherever you listen to your podcasts, or you can also find us at deschutes.org/podcast. But until next time, please be safe out there.